Welcome to the Technical Writing Success Podcast. This is episode 137. I'm Fred.
And I'm Daphne. It's great to be with you all again.
Especially happy to have our audience of technical writers, documentation specialists, and IT professionals tuning in today.
Yes, because we're getting into a really relevant and honestly sometimes frustrating topic, the impact of, low-quality AI-generated content.
That's right. This was actually a topic strongly suggested by our producer, senior technical writer Kurt Robbins. We're going to unpack this idea of Workslop.
Workslop, yeah. It sounds a bit funny, but the research suggests it's a serious issue.
It really is. We're looking at how this kind of low-effort, low-substance stuff isn't just annoying. It's genuinely hurting efficiency in companies and, maybe worse, damaging trust between colleagues.
And we're basing our discussion today on a really insightful article. Let me get the details here. It's titled, AI-Generated Workslop is Here. It's killing teamwork and causing a multi-million-dollar productivity problem, researchers say. That was written by Jennifer Liu. It's from CNBC Make It, published back on Tuesday, September 23, 2025.
Got it. So let's dig into that term itself, workslop. I mean, we all know what bad work looks like, right? Laziness isn't new. What makes this different? Why is it an AI thing?
That's a great question. The definition comes from some specific research by Kate Niederhoffer at BetterUp and Jeff Hancock over at the Stanford Social Media Lab.
Okay.
They define Workslop as essentially AI-generated content that looks like good work. It sort of masquerades as useful stuff.
Masquerades. Yeah, I like that word for it.
But it fundamentally lacks the substance needed to actually move a task forward. It doesn't help you do anything.
So it has that, surface-level polish, uses the right jargon, maybe looks structured.
Exactly. It looks familiar, but something's slightly off. It can be convoluted, the style feels weird, and ultimately it's just empty. Think long paragraphs that sound fancy but say absolutely nothing useful.
Right, like intellectual junk food, as you said earlier.
Yeah.
Fill space, no nutrition.
Precisely. And the researchers actually shared these sort of aha moments they had when they started noticing this pattern.
Oh, yeah.
Professor Hancock at Stanford mentioned seeing it back in 2022. He was grading student papers and realized a bunch of them looked pretty good, but not quite right. And the key thing was they all had the same kind of not quite rightness.
Ah, so a shared flaw.
Yes. Lots of text, very wordy, but just not substantive. No real argument being made. It suddenly became easy to churn out thousands of words without much actual thinking.
And Kate Niederhoffer talked about that sinking feeling, right? Getting something, an email or a deck, and just knowing it's missed the mark, and now you have to spend serious effort just figuring out what they were trying to say.
Yeah, that deep effort she mentioned. If you, as a technical writer, find yourself spending half an hour trying to pull one concrete requirement out of some long, rambling report, you might be dealing with workslop.
And it seems like a lot of people are dealing with it. This isn't some niche problem.
No, not at all. The survey they did this was over 1,150 full-time workers in the U.S. found that 40%, said they'd received workslop just in the last month.
Wow, nearly half the workforce. That's significant.
It is, and it seems particularly bad in fields like professional services and tech, but it's widespread. On average, people estimated that about 15% of all the content they get feels like this low-effort, AI-generated, unhelpful stuff.
15%. And for technical folks like our listeners, the signs might be even clearer, right? Like that purple prose they mentioned.
Exactly. That overly elaborate writing 3 paragraphs when a bullet point would do. Or, code examples that don't actually work, documentation missing vital context, decks that look slick but have no real data.
Strangely worded emails.
Yeah.
We've probably all seen it.
Mm-hmm.
And if 15% of content is basically useless filler, that must add up financially. This invisible tax idea they talk about.
It really does. They tried to quantify the wasted time. The study found recipients spend, on average, 1 hour and 56 minutes dealing with the fallout from each workslop incident.
Most 2 hours, just trying to fix it or figure it out.
Yeah, deciphering, editing, correcting, maybe asking for clarification. It all adds up.
So what does that translate to in, dollars and cents?
Well, they factored in the salaries people reported, and it came out to roughly an $186 tax per employee per month.
Whoa. Nearly $200 of lost value every month for every worker, just cleaning up this stuff.
It's a staggering hidden cost, and then you scale it up. Think about a company with, say, 10,000 employees. That's not unusual.
Oh, yeah.
You're looking at a $9 million hit to productivity annually.
$9 million gone because of content that looks pretty good but isn't right. How do you even track that? It's buried in lost time.
That's exactly the problem. It's invisible to standard metrics, but the cost isn't just financial, is it? There's a human cost, too.
You mean the impact on teamwork?
Well,
Trust.
definitely. If you keep getting unusable stuff from someone, well, it changes how you see them.
Yeah, you start to doubt their abilities, their reliability.
The survey backed that up. People reported feeling annoyed, that was 53%, confused, 38%, and almost a quarter, 22%, actually felt offended.
Offended, wow.
And long-term. About half the workers said they view colleagues as less creative, less capable, less reliable after getting work slop from them repeatedly.
I remember that anecdote in the article, the finance worker. Getting AI stuff and facing that choice.
Oh yeah, the dilemma.
Do I just fix it myself? Do I push back and maybe create friction? Or do I just let it slide? Accept the lower quality.
And that's where standards die, right?
Yeah.
When good enough becomes the easiest option, quality control, which is, core to technical writing, just evaporates.
It also really highlights why AI makes this problem, well, worse than just garden variety sloppiness.
That's Professor Hancock's point, really. Old school sloppy work still required some human effort. You had to type it, think a bit. That effort acted as a kind of brake on how much bad stuff got produced.
But now, with AI, that brake is gone.
Completely. You can generate mountains of nonsense in seconds with almost zero effort.
And the person generating it might not even realize the burden they're creating.
That's the key insight, I think. They see it as saving their time, using a tool. They don't see that they're just shifting the burden onto the other person, as the research puts it. They've basically outsourced the hard part, the thinking, the editing, the sense-making to their colleague.
So it's not just about the AI's output quality, it's about the user's awareness, their sort of interpersonal consideration when they hit send.
Exactly. Which leads us to solutions needing to be more organizational, not just technological.
Okay, this seems like a good point to pause. Let's take a brief break for a special message from our producer, Kurt Robbins.
Hi, this is Kurt Robbins. First, thanks for listening. I truly appreciate your support. I want to let you know that I'm currently accepting new clients. My rates are affordable, and I have more than 25 years of experience working for enterprise companies like Microsoft, Northrop Grumman, Oracle, PNC Bank, FedEx, USAA, and Wells Fargo, among many others. If you want to improve your IT documentation and communications, hire me. I deliver fast, know how to use AI to improve efficiency and accuracy, and love going the extra mile to satisfy my clients. Thank you for subscribing and listening. Back to you, Daphne and Fred.
Welcome back to the Technical Writing Success Podcast.
All right, so we've established this problem, this work slop, has a real cost $9 million annually in big companies, plus the damage to trust. The big question now is, what can we actually do about it? Especially from a technical documentation perspective.
Well, the researchers argue pretty strongly that it's really up to organizations to get a handle on AI use. The big problem is this guidance gap.
Meaning no clear rules or expectations.
Right. So workers are kind of acting out of fear of being left behind if they don't use AI, but also fear of getting judged if they use it badly. So they just generate stuff quickly without much thought. Check the box.
That makes sense. So what are the concrete solutions then? The research pointed to a couple of key behavioral shifts needed at the team level.
Yes, two main things. The first one is fostering a real, explicit commitment to task quality.
Okay, what does that look like in practice?
It means teams actually need to spend time talking about how they're using AI. Not just basic training, but really critiquing the output together. Discussing, okay, where does AI actually help us on this project, and where does it fall short?
So for a tech writing team, that might mean looking at an AI-drafted API doc and asking, does this meet our standard for clarity? Is it actually useful for a developer?
Precisely. It needs to be an active, ongoing conversation about standards, not just assuming everyone's using it somehow. And the second big solution?
What's that?
Transparency. Just being upfront about AI use.
So like actually telling someone.
Yeah, saying something like, hey, just so you know, I used a chatbot to get a first draft of these intro slides because I was short on time. That gives the person receiving it crucial context.
That seems huge for technical writers. If I know a section was AI generated, I immediately know where to focus. My editing probably needs more specifics, more context, maybe the tone is off. Knowing the intent saves that deciphering time we talked about.
Exactly. It puts the human back in the driver's seat, which connects to the role of leadership, too. Managers need to encourage more of a pilot mindset.
Meaning giving people control over the tools, not just mandating their use.
Right. Giving people agency. and providing really specific reasons why a certain AI tool might be useful for a specific task, along with clear guidelines, policies, and crucially, training that emphasizes verification and editing, not just hitting generate.
So it's about managing the use of the tool, not just deploying the tool itself.
Absolutely. It comes back to what Kate Niederhoffer emphasized. The goal should be augmentation, not replacement.
Using AI to enhance human abilities, not replace them.
Yes. She said AI can be incredible, and we shouldn't lose sight of that, but we have to resist that urge to just copy and paste without thinking.
Avoid the copy and paste mode.
That's the phrase. For professionals, especially technical communicators who are often the guardians of clarity and accuracy, the aim is to let AI speed things up, maybe drafting outlines, finding information, but never letting it replace the essential human judgment, the critical thinking, the editing that creates real substance.
That's a really important distinction. Okay, so just to quickly recap what we've covered, we define Workslop as that AI content that looks okay but lacks substance. We talked about its significant cost, nearly 2 hours wasted per incident, adding up to potentially $9 million a year for bigger companies. And we saw the solutions lie in organizations being transparent and teams actively committing to quality standards, using AI to augment, not replace, human thinking.
And maybe a final thought to leave our listeners with. The research mentioned something striking. 95% of organizations apparently aren't seeing a measurable return on their AI investments, likely due in part to this hidden productivity drain. So here's the question for you. As technical writers, often the quality gatekeepers, how can you position yourselves and your teams to ensure AI genuinely augments your work, adds value, and actively prevents the creation of work slop within your documentation and communication processes? Something to think about.
That's a great challenge for everyone listening. Thank you for listening to the Technical Writing Success Podcast, where we help you get smarter than your competition. Remember to like, subscribe, comment, and share. We'll see you next week.